Okay, I'm back. I spent a couple of minutes on this stepper thing that I have. Like an exercise machine. Hoping that... How rude. Yes, aim at the boxes before the man shooting at you. Yeah, hoping that it would speed up and aid in my digestion. I think it did. I feel a little clear-headed now. A little more clear-headed now. So this is New Harbor.
That skill's not ready.
My ear hurts for some reason. Anyway, this guy says, heard about what you've done. Cronley was a terrifying man. Can't imagine facing him. Now, this person, interestingly enough, let's talk to her. News of Cronley's demise has spread like wildfire. Our overseer, Silas, fled at first word. We are finally free of Cronley's oppression, and it's all thanks to you. I don't know how we could possibly repay you, but please take this scrap. We were preparing it for our next tribute to Silas, but now we won't have to. Check that out. Just 3 grand XP and 3 scrap. Now the thing is... I'm not sure if you can find them here now or not. Now that's odd. Oh yeah, there's one kid, right? There should be another kid somewhere. Well, anyway, in those cages, if you go into that area and if you do anything at all in this area, right? You basically lock yourself into an ending to this scenario where their kids get kidnapped. But if you just go kill Cronley before you talk to them, none of that happens. So the best option is to just ignore those people until you kill Cronley. Okay. Now, one thing worthy of note is, so this is the faction shop, right? For the roamers. I think that's what they're called, the Rowari. Regardless. Now, one thing I'm looking for here... Yeah, rovers, not roamers. Whatever, rovers, roamers. But if you look at this, right, there's some pretty powerful stuff you can get, and we will probably be looking into doing that later. For some of the factions. Now, I'm gonna level with you. It takes a lot of farming. And it's not particularly fun farming either. Like, you know, there's different kinds of farming. There's farming where it's not bad. There's farming where it's, you know, repetitive, but at least there's something there to be interesting. And then there's farming where it's just the rote same thing over and over and over again in a way that's just unenjoyable by anyone with an interior monologue. an internal monologue. So yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the latter. So like I said, we're gonna go back into that mine where we first got dynamite and see if we can't scrounge up some more. Put this out of its misery, and these fools too. Now see again, like that is a formidable natural barrier. I can understand why you would need a bridge to get across. I've played my fair share of Death Stranding. I know a climbing rope and ladder scenario whenever I see one. Sam Porter Bridges would have trouble getting across that. That's basically my like that's my metric, is how many Sams does it take to get across this. If it's less than one Sam Porter Bridges in difficulty, it's not a real natural obstacle. What level was that thing? We kind of wiped the floor with that. 30. Wow, okay. Maybe the bugs are weak to one of the elements that comes out of the end of this gun at random. Not sure. I'm just not really understanding why that hero unit went down like a sack of wet paper. It's a little weird. I mean, these guys I can understand because the internal damage, I would imagine, is applicable. Let's say that. I think humans are an enemy capable of experiencing dire internal damage, especially from a overtuned magical musket shot. Well, I guess this is a bolt action rifle, but you know what I mean. A bolt action musket. You know, on some level, I do wonder why they don't try to, like, modernize the musket, as dangerous and stupid as that sounds. Oh! Okay. Someone in that group did appreciable damage. My ear got itchy. Ah. The bane of all that I do. Oh! Oop, oop. Wrong button.
Can't do that yet.
Okay, just lead him over here, get past him, and shoot his boys, hopefully to death. Not even to death, not even to death, just to debt. just shoot them until they owe me money. Okay, now that he doesn't have his backup, he's not that big of a deal. Just incredibly tanky. Just focusing, I don't want to bite the big one here, and him only having a few grand health left. Which again, it says a lot that I'm saying that. I can't really stress enough that if you haven't played this game yourself, somehow, like if somehow my playthrough is the first time you've seen this game, I cannot stress enough how much more enemies' HP total. I bungled that entire sentence. How much higher the enemy HP values are in veteran than they are in normal. I mean, it feels like it's 3 or 4 times in some like hero units instances. Or rather, in the instance of some hero units, I should say, to be grammatically accurate. Well, precise, whatever. You know what I mean. Let's watch some bugs explode. Excellent. I have the idea that maybe whenever I've gotten to the end of the DLC and I've beaten like the whole game on veteran, like all acts, DLC acts included, that I'll go back through and record some clips from, like, maybe a clip from each episode and make a long compilation of almost a highlight reel of the stuff that happened. It'll basically just be a bunch of stuff exploding, I'm not gonna kid you. It's just gonna be exploding stuff. It's just gonna be me going, wow, as showers of gore rain down on the poor unfortunates who decide to take a shot at the king and miss cleanly. Alright, so we got 2 dynamite. That's pretty good. That more or less covering for it, for the cost of this guy's quest, satiates my need to have dynamite available. I don't know if you heard that, but an empty water bottle fell over. How depressing. Darn it. I really should have taken that out whenever I got up earlier. I normally do. I'm a pretty fastidious person. What with my, you know, very likely to be OCD. And I'm just saying, I don't say that like, aha, you know, I like things a certain way, I must have OCD. Like, no, I mean, like, legit. Like, it's not, I'm undiagnosed because I diagnosed myself. It's I'm undiagnosed because I really don't need to go to a psychiatrist to know I have it. It's obvious. But just like somebody who, you know, wholeheartedly believes that there's mole men in his walls doesn't need to go to a psychiatrist to be told that he's a schizophrenic. I don't need to be told outright, you know, there's a thin veneer of, well, you know, I'm not technically diagnosed for that. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure I qualify. Yeah, like I said, I'm usually fastidious about that. Plus 48 health regenerated per second is pretty good. It's the same thing, huh? Just 7 levels higher? I prefer this one. I mean, that 1% point in either direction ain't gonna make that much of a difference, but that plus 16 health regenerated a second is really alluring. Yeah, I'll take that. Oh, well, I mean, I have plenty of that. I was saying that, by the way, in case it wasn't obvious, that had the, so to go look at it. Notice this is just left trigger, press, nothing. Go over here, left trigger, it has the corpse dust on it. I have plenty of that, so it's not really that big of a deal. That's one of the reasons why you want to have a good stockpile of these extras, these little component things. Yeah, have 15 of them, like, good grief. Yes, yes. There we go. Move this up. And speaking of having a good stockpile of these, just go ahead. Oh goodness, hold on. I think I have to sneeze. Okay. Crisis averted. I really need to have my... Like, I need to have a mute button on this thing. Goodness. Okay. Like a Control-Alt-M? Something like that. Shift-Control-M. Shift-Control-Alt-M. Something like that. Right, I have to go over here. Talk to this guy.
Yes? Do you have the dynamite we require?
Unfortunately.
Oh, good. Let us start the experiment immediately. Darlet, prep the blast furnace. Of course. I am fully confident that it will function as intended. Well, there may be a slight chance that we will tear apart reality when the artifact is consumed by the conflagration, but chances of that are very low. So low. 1 in a billion. You're safe. Really.
I love the this can't end well.
I was correct. Just look at these wonderful components. We can finally begin studying artifacts properly. If only the Erelon Museum Society could see me now, they would be absolutely furious. Oh, and if you wish, you can have Darlet break down any items you find. Just bring her more explosives.
Okay. Does that really take explosives? Takes 5 dynamite. Five dynamite is a lot of dynamite. That's a lot of dynamite.
Got something you need stashed?
Let me just try this out real quick, because that is a lot of dynamite. I'm not sure I'm willing to give that much dynamite to this lady. Oh, total dynamite, okay. What will I get? Yeah. That's not worth it. I would rather have the dynamite. Yeah. Yeah, I would rather have the dynamite. Oof. Yeah, I feel dim for that. But you know, I guess it's worth it if I ever do have a ton of dynamite to have a ton of stuff to put in the dynamite chamber, yeah. I guess. You gotta look on the bright side of life. You gotta stay positive. I'm gonna stay positive. Oh yeah! Still gotta do the strange key thing. Yeah. Let's go do that, because we're moving into, like,
Got something you need stashed?
the second half of Act 2. It's a little silly for me to not have done the strange key thing yet. I do have that strange key, right? I do have that strange key, right? I didn't sell it, right? Yes, okay. Alright, okay. I knew it the whole time. It's fine. That was just a dramatic exaggeration for comedic effect, yeah. So as you can see, these guys are level 18, but at 19 in some places, I don't think they're going to get any higher than that. So you can kind of tell that different zones have their different max level thing going on. I just wanted to shoot that guy. But yeah, there's like a max level thing going on. Oh, this is not where I wanted to go, actually. I'm going to the wrong spot. The Foggy Bank, that's it. I mean, this will get me to the same place, basically. I'm saying that you didn't hear the other half of what went on in my head. I was thinking, like, ah, crud, I meant to go to the other one. But that, I meant to go to that one. But this gets me actually closer, so... Effectively the same place, but even closer. Just gonna make sure there's nothing following us. Goodness. Okay. So these guys are going to be pushovers, but these are the Chthonic. I'm not sure we've seen Chthonic guys yet, but these are the Chthon cultists. If we have seen them, I just don't remember. These guys, we don't see a whole lot of them in acts prior to 4 and 3. But, there's the actual, like, Chthonic entities. Well, one of them, anyway. One kind of them. That jerk. So the thing is, with the Chthon, so the Aetherials are just the Aetherials. The Cult of Chthon serve a guy, a deity, a Lovecraftian entity called Chthon, and they love blood for reasons that will probably become apparent if you read some of the we'll eventually get, like, in Act 4, I want to say, like the end of Act 3. See, the thing is that in my head I separate the acts by something a little bit different than what they're apparently actually separated by. I'll talk more about that whenever we get there, probably, if I remember to. But the gist is that way later in the game we'll get some journal entries that outright state what these guys are about, so I'll try not to say too much. But needless to say, they're not nice, and the Aetherials need bodies that work to be able to manifest in a body, right? The thing is that whenever the Chthon cultists drain a body of blood, apparently that prevents the Aetherials from using it. Which is why they hate... Well, that's one reason why they hate one another. The other has to do with what the Aetherials are, and what Chthon is, and what the Chthonics are, and what their missions are. Because the Aetherials just want to basically take over Cairn, the material world of Grim Dawn. Meanwhile, the Chthon cult is after something a little bit more esoteric. They're not really in it for a goal as simple as, "Wahaha, we want to rule the world." They're not really in for that. If I had to say anything about the story, like the background of Grim Dawn, what makes it most interesting to me is the lore behind Chthon and the Chthonics. The Aetherials feel like Saturday morning cartoon stuff, aside from the darker stuff like what Darius talked about with the whole, you know, needing more vessels thing. Like, that's the actual worst ending. But aside from that awful, awful stuff, the Chthonics are actually more like... more unsettling in a... The Aetherials are unsettling. I'll put it this way: the horror behind the Aetherials is what would happen if they were successful in their goals. The horror behind the Chthon cult is why their goals exist, and I think that's very interesting. That's a much different register than, like, if these guys take over, horrors beyond, you know, imagination would take place. Instead, it's horrors beyond imagination have already taken place, and these guys are, like, actually in the know. That kind of thing. It's like, ooh, crap. It's a very different, like I said, it's just a very different texture of horror. It's not the visceral, like... And this ain't gonna make much sense if you don't know the lore behind it, until, like I said, we get there and it explains it some several dozen hours from now, probably, in the recordings, but like, it is very much a... it's the difference between it's the difference between like a Tyranid invasion and I was gonna say John Carpenter's The Thing, but that's not really it. It's the difference between something like a Tyranid invasion and like realizing you're living in Xanarchy. That kind of stuff. It's like being Titus from Final Fantasy X. It's a very different like register of horror. It's like, oh crap, oh, like the reality that the people of Grim Dawn live in is absolutely not normal, and it's absolutely not what like it looks like at first. Which, by the way, I've only played through Final Fantasy X once, and I kind of liked it. It was an alright game. I'm not really a big fan of old school turn-based JRPGs much, especially not Final Fantasy games. But it was an alright game. The thing about that game, though, that got me is that the story to it is way... I feel like I played through all of Final Fantasy VII, and I have no idea why people fall in love with that game. But Final Fantasy X, its story is actually like kind of incredible. In whenever you think about it, it's not like a story that's incredible because of what happens in it, but the setting is kind of incredible. Like, whoa, it's kind of a mind bender, kind of in the way that Eureka 7, the anime, like, I haven't watched that in a while, don't get me wrong, like, the last time I watched that I was a teenager, so I watched it back whenever it was age appropriate, but that it's kind of a mind bender setting in the same way that is, like, it's like, whoa, hold on, like, there's some aspects to the world that's, there's some aspects to the world that this setting is, how to put it, not this setting, but that this narrative, right? Like, the greater world that this narrative is taking place in. There's some aspects to it that really, if you sit and think on it, are, like, kind of fascinating to just think about, right? Like, the implications of. And, you know, I never really got that for Final Fantasy VII. For whatever it's worth, I played that game long before I played Final Fantasy X. Like, I played Final Fantasy X as an adult. I played Final Fantasy VII as, like, you know, I was like maybe 11 or 12, I think. And whenever I played Final Fantasy VII. So, you know, maybe, and I haven't played it since. Not the original on emulator nor any of the remakes, because, you know, whatever, but maybe I just didn't pick up on what was going on in the story, but I played Chrono Cross when at around the same age, and I loved that game. I still do. If I could play it on an emulator without it... By the way, the only reason I haven't bought it on Steam is because apparently the Steam version, from what I read, has the same problem. Where the emulated version of it, for whatever reason, just is awful. But that game's story is super cool. Yeah, and I also really loved the battle system from that game. And I just loved that game, just all of that game. That game was super cool. But again, I loved that game, and I loved the story about it. Like, the story, the setting, like the world that the story took place in. Kind of like how I loved for kind of the same reason, so I was a kid, right? Like, so again, maybe it was just an easier thing to pick up on than the Final Fantasy VII setting, and I just didn't understand it whenever I played it. I'm rambling on to get to the point, however circuitously and ponderously, that it's kind of like that, where there's sort of there's a lot of implications to the Chthon cult that, you know, the narrative that this game takes place in, like the immediate narrative of your character going through the stuff that they do, and dealing with the Grim Dawn, the event, not, you know, just the game, and the stuff in it. Like, there's a lot of implications to the Chthon lore. I mean, obviously it's not as deep as, like, the stuff fleshed out in a Final Fantasy game, 7 or 10, or any other Final Fantasy game for that matter, but, you know, it's still interesting. It's, compared to the ethereal, like, lore and motivations, the Chthon cult motivations and lore are just, I think it's kind of for me, in my own personal opinion, it's kind of what adds a lot of the flavor to the story and setting of Grim Dawn that keeps it from just being another, you know, oh no, there's this evil entity that's trying to take over the world and the apocalypse has come because they've been, you know, they've sundered the veil between, you know, that kind of stuff. One thing I like in particular is the, and it's kind of an old school thing, but the salt, that, like, salt is protective against ethereals. I really like that. It's such a small thing, but I love it so much.
Can't do that yet.
The reason why I'm yammering on, by the way, is because the actual enemies that we're seeing here aren't really all that interesting. It's, the thing with the Chthon cult is that, well, first of all, a lot of their units are just guy that runs up to you and does a ton of damage in melee. The second thing is that a lot of their, like, I say a lot, but there's not really that many bosses, but there are humanoid bosses where the deal is that you kill them and they just erupt in a shower of gore and turn into a chthonic entity. I try to enunciate. But other than that, that weird gimmick of exploding into a monstrosity for some of the bosses, there's not really much else to be said. The majority of the chthonic forces that we'll be fighting for a while are going to be human cultists who do goofy stuff like summon red lightning that okos you on occasion. You know, dudes that run up to you, dudes that have pistols, dudes that throw balls of acid and chaotic energy at you, that kind of stuff. I'm not really going to say that the Aetherials have more interesting units, because I don't think that's fair. I think that all of the enemies are kind of interesting visually and interesting conceptually. Like, the art in this game is spot on. I'm not saying that they're not interesting at all. I'm just saying that to my pattern matching, like the way I look at things, I know it's not unique as a human to match patterns, right? But, like, what I mean by that is I'm almost always looking for what amounts to reskins. I feel like I played way too many video games with reskins in them. So whenever I see an enemy and it just does the run up to you and hit you thing, I'm like, ah, yeah, okay, it's basically just a reskin of, you know. So to me, an enemy, even if it has like an extra gimmick or an extra thing about it, if it does functionally the same thing, I just go, oh yeah, that's a reskin of, right? So I'm getting that clear because there is some variance in how the different enemies work. Like, the guys who are spiky, they almost look like lizardmen, but if you actually zoom up on them, they kind of look almost like little spiky demon guys. I think they're called like bloodletters or whatever. They actually cast spells and do some other interesting stuff, and I think there's actually more than one kind of them. I could be wrong on that, but you know, if you look at the spiky guys, they do interesting stuff. They do different stuff at a minimum. It's just, hold on. +1 to all skills in soldier. Yeah, I don't want that because I don't want to have, like, activated skills having any skill points in them. We're gonna have a lot of this Blood of Cthulhu stuff by the end. I'm gonna put that one in the rare pile. Put it in the rare pit. Hold on, my phone is being a jerk again. Alright. Okay.
Got something neat stashed.
Now then. And put all of our goofy component stuff up.
I'll keep an eye out.
How many dynamite? Alright. I like that. A crude explosive once fielded by demolitionists to counter the devastating powers of magic users. I love that. I love the idea of like, oh yeah, you got fireball, I've got pack of dynamite, nerd. Get blown to smithereens. Yeah, cast magic ward on pack of dynamite, turd. Yeah, like imagine you're playing Skyrim, you do the little ward thing, and some jerk just throws a grenade at you. Like, yeah, eat this. I just love that in any setting like this. Oh, speak to Steven Skinner? Okay. I think I know where that guy is. He's the guy that we got to not burn his family alive in the house that he locked them in. Yeah, this dude. Yeah. It's not good. The thing he gives you is not good. I feel like that's just something that, and I'm not knocking the game for that, because I do genuinely think that's not something you can help. If you design a game like this, if you give genuinely good quest rewards, that's a problem, because then you're going to have to try to balance the game around the quest rewards, and that doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, you have to give something, right? You can't just have people doing quests and just give them XP every single time. So, it makes sense. And I mean, it's still unique gear for whatever the heck that's worth, so, you know. People can base challenges around that, and that's like a metagame thing, but I think that's still valid to add stuff like that in your game if for no other reason than to let people build challenges around, like, quest-only items run, or whatever. I'm not saying that the devs did it for that reason, I'm just saying that it often works out to that, and that's a valid upshot of doing that, regardless of the intention.
Can't do that yet.
I love this gun. I just love using just a big gun to shoot stuff. In games like these, specifically. Just the isometric angle of you just blowing a skeleton apart with a bolt-action rifle. It's like maple syrup on peanut butter. It just belongs. That's not. I don't like these guys. I think I covered why before. That rock that they tossed was way too much damage. Also, that's a lot of bugs. That's a lot of dead bugs. Excellent. Excellent. Worked out great. Now, the thing is here, is that those stupid skeleton priests, they can heal each other, and they do percentage-based healing. So, it's the same problem with every single healer enemy in this game. You have to go after them because of especially if there's more than one of them. Because in Veteran, you have guys that have 14,000 health as regular enemies. Oh, goodness, my stomach is trying to kill me. Hold on. Okay, hopefully with a half a bottle of water down my gullet. Ugh. I won't have my stomach kicking like I've got a mule in my abdomen trying to get out. But yeah, you'll have enemies with 14 grand health that are down to 5,000 that get just in one zap put back up to 14 grand. And that's a problem. Later on, we'll be able to very efficiently delete health and keep it gone. So, healers will become less and less immediately relevant. But for now, in this section of the game, we have to take care of them as soon as we... Yeah, unless, of course, like right there, it's just one of them and it's a field of, like, normal mobs. Like, weak... I hate to say trash mobs, but, like, filler mobs. Okay, the problem with the calcium deposits is that their guns, their crossbows and such hurt a lot. You rewind the tape, but did that skeleton just take a pot shot at that wasp? Because if so, that skeleton is just further affirming that the undead in this game are kind of based. They're kind of cool. Because I remember that, I remember leaving off last time that the undead pushed back Cronley's boys, and now they're taking pot shots at wasps. Like, yeah, okay. Just another beautiful day in paradise. That ham chili really has me alternating having digestive issues and having drowsiness. Goodness. What's that? Wasp nest entrance. Forgive me if I don't want to go into the wasp nest entrance. I feel like the wasp nest entrance is not somewhere I wish to go. Nice. Mega kill. Ultra kill. Overkill. Mega kill. Monster kill. Alright. I'm not really sure where this goes. Oh, I know where we're at. Hold on there, traveler. You wouldn't want this pretty lady's brains to spill all over the ground, would you? Let's see some iron. Let's give him 300 iron bits, even though normally, in such a situation, my response would be to blow his brains all over the side of the road. But let's just give him 300 iron bits. Thank you kindly. You go on your merry way now. Yeah, okay. So if we talk to this lady, she goes, "You poor stupid thing. Gotta say, you're making me feel a little guilty. It's all a sham, hon. You got swindled. We do what we gotta do out here, and it sure beats aiming a gun at every traveler that crosses us. Now get going before you give away our little scheme." And then we can just tell her, you don't have to live like this. And she says, "A safe place? I forget what that even means. And you'd really take us in, even after what we pulled." It's like, lady, 300 iron is like... Look, I don't want to... I don't know how the economics of this world work, but 300 iron, as you've seen, we get that from like selling 2 pieces of loot. It's like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, we let them into Homestead. But yeah, that's the like nice guy way of getting through that. the reason why I think that's like morally okay is because he wasn't actually holding her hostage. Like, she was never actually in any danger. You get me? It's that kind of thing. Like, oh, you guys were just whatever. Also, it's like, guys, you can just kill like 5 skeletons and have that much. You really don't need to do this. I'm literally right next to the healer. It's turning to look at dudes 5 feet from my guy. It's kind of annoying. Let's get over here and deal with the 3rd healer. Ah, you know, I think that's a big part of why I'm getting so drowsy, is the steady, soothing staccato of the bolt action landing in bone. You know, I bet if you were a particularly musically talented person, you could take this and make a sick, like, backtrack, like, backing track. You could use that as, like, the beat for... Like, you could use that, remix it, into a sick meme beat. Gunnoise.mp3 soundtrack. Okay, so this is the Coliseum. We might skip this place because it's annoying. Because it is filled chock to the brim with stupid butthole healers. Okay, I think we've gotten some of the healers down. Okay, I think that's most of the healers down now. Okay. It makes my eyes go crosswise, dealing with 5 skeleton priests in one bunch. It's just irritating. It's like having a single grain of sand at the bottom of your shoe. I hate that. When you have what feels like a single grain of, like, something at the bottom of your shoe, under your foot. Just, Oh, by the way, that's the other reason I kind of was thinking I might have to skip this. Because if you think those skeletal priests won't heal that big guy, you're wrong. They absolutely will. I was gonna make a Hyaki Yagyo reference. That sounds like gibberish, don't worry. But it does kind of made me think of that, seeing all those ghosts and stuff in procession. Gonna just see a random Oni come out of the mist. Come out of the ethereal realm beyond the void. Well, hopefully we'll thin out enough stuff, assuming that that guy's not just, you know, spawning more infinitely, which he very well may likely be doing. And honestly, probably is. Wait, hold on. A haunted champion. Is he haunted? Is he the champion that is haunted, or is he a haunting champion? I feel like that description's a little off. Surely that ghost is the haunting champion, not the haunted champion. Like, to be haunted, doesn't that mean that to be followed by, or otherwise, like, accosted or troubled by a ghost? If you are the ghost, are you not the one haunting? Like, not to be, you know, grammar persnickety, but, like, if I'm going to be doing any persnickety, I think that's the thing to be persnickety about, as far as grammar is concerned. Yeah, haunted. Yeah, I think that's worth persnicketing. Being persnicketous. So is the big guy just spawning ghosts? Like, I genuinely forget if he spawns ghosts or not. Because those big bone dudes, the bone colossi, they can spawn stuff. I just ooh, good grief, that's bad.
Can't do that yet.
Okay. The problem here, I'm going to end up dead. Oh, that is incredibly odd that I lived through that. Okay. See, this is kind of the problem, right? Is that there's too many healers. Okay, well that's at least one healer dead. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Can I get a fourth? Okay, good. Okay, 5. I need to lure them away from that last one. Yeah, guys, get over here. Come on. Juicy, you know, flesh-covered bones over here. There's a fleshy fella over here. Shoot the healer, please. Thank you. Okay. Now there's one more right here. Alright, I think that's all of the healers for this end of the Coliseum. For now. This takes more focus than you may think. I think we're in the clear now. Like, I think this is legit in the clear territory. It's just a matter of time now. So the Bone Colossus guy, the thing with him is that once you clear out literally everything around him, he's not that bad. But everything around him is made 10 times worse whenever he's stomping around trying to kill you. Especially whenever he's surrounded by a skeletal priest. And by the way, this area is entirely optional. We don't have to do it. Which is why I said we might skip it. I'm gonna have to end the recording soon, I think. So, gonna have to figure out a good place to break. I'd like to finish clearing this joint out. 3 skeletal priests up here. Like, at some point you have more priests than... It reminds me of something my grandfather used to say, like, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. It's like at some point you have too many healers and not enough dudes. Like what? What are you doing? Like if I make an adventuring party of 6 people and 3 of them are healers, someone's gonna tell me that someone needs to change their class, right? Like you can't have a party of 6 people and 4 of them are healers. Ugh, goodness, my ear. Maybe, you know what, I think I'll cut the recording there and go take care of my ear real quick. Be right back.